Hello everyone, my name is Brian Jennings. I'm seeing more activity on the channel. Right? Welcome to the channel, the Critical Sorcerer, the Millennial Dragon. Right? This channel exists to discuss in the open air my fucked up relationship with Quentin Tarantino. Right? Quentin Tarantino is a powerful psychic clairvoyant who practices base sorcery, right? And so I'm the critical sorcerer, right? Because magic is done in the light, right? We're bringing the conversation out into the open, right? I am the reason that Quentin canceled his film, The Movie Critic, last April, right? As a result of an essay that I wrote, as well as 3 film reviews. It's a movie about a guy who reviews movies. I'm not gonna go on and on, right? That set in motion a series of events that led to where we are now. And so I created this channel because it seems obvious that he's hell-bent on us keeping a very sick psychological standard for both of us, right? That he has created a condition where we both exist as psychic phantoms in the other's mind, right? And so, right, I'll refer you to any number of my videos that I made previously. This is the second video that I've made today. And having rewatched the first one, I'll say that that was perhaps one of the best ones I've ever made. Though my mother's observation was that I seemed angry. I was running hot. I was hot-blooded in that one, right? But everything that I'm talking about, right, it's really important that we discuss it in the light of day, right? That's why I do everything that I do, right? I profane nothing, right? I betray no order, I betray no master, right? I have the right to talk about it because I'm living it, right? Did I say some salacious shit about the president of the Burbank International Film Festival? Yeah, sure. Right? And that's not a threat. That's not a threat to possess her mind. Right? With my mind, that's a guarantee, right? That you want to venerate Quentin Tarantino, right? Therefore, you give me permission to behave like him towards you, right? So, it's my hope that people are hearing the pages, right? The novel is really good right now. It's like the pages are really good. And it's my hope that people are hearing the pages and saying, wow, this is really, it's a complicated story. This is obviously, there's more to the story than what Quentin has led the public to believe, which is nothing beyond that he's a peculiar artist, right? That's all he would have you believe, right? And if he had produced a non-disclosure agreement and paid me for my scene, right, then that would be the truth. That would be the whole story. That I'm a weird guy who was a pain in his ass, right? And that would have been my story, right? Rather than do that, rather than be reasonable, right? He decided to try to use his mind, him and the people around him, to compel me to madness and suicide, and that's why we're here now. Because he's failed. And so now all he can do is be palpably evil, right? Which is why we're talking about it. I'll say that for people that are just now finding the channel, right? I read a really nice comment from a girl, I think her name was Jen, that she subscribed to the channel as soon as she read the description, and that she was excited about watching everything from the beginning. She commented on the first video. And so that's great. That's exciting. You know, it's a journey of discovery. It's a lot, right? And so the verbiage has changed maybe, but the message has always been the same in all of the videos. And what I'll say to people is that if you're just coming to the channel and you say, oh, where do I begin because it's so much, and it is, it's like 170 videos now, you know. If you watch the long videos, right? If you start at the beginning and start with the first episode and just go up and watch all of the videos, watch nothing but the videos that are like half an hour, right? Or 20 minutes, but essentially from 20 minutes up, right? And they'll always be structured Quentin Tarantino, the movie critic, the real story, building a coven, 1, right? Building a coven 2, right? And so, again, right, it's described in the description of the channel, right? That I'll introduce the channel, I'll talk about the mission statement of the channel, then I'll do a reading from the novel, then we'll talk about the nature of reality, how Quentin does what he does, how I do what I do, how our relationship is perpetuated, right? And how anyone can do these things, that he's not actually clever or wise. And I look forward to hearing what more people have to say. I always get self-conscious when I see notifications because usually that means comments. And the last comment that I read said something about mental health, and that's fine. That's fine. I know that I'm a particular frequency. You know, much almost like me and Quentin Tarantino are alike in a lot of ways, right? But my point is that, right, I said it in my last video, and it's always been true. Wisdom appears as madness to the uninitiated, right? That I don't have to, like, social graces are bullshit, right? Fame is bullshit, right? If I cared about money or fame, right, I would have given Quentin what he wanted. Man, he got what he wanted, right? Because he's a base, degenerate man, right? He wanted to hold court in my mind, right? These are the games that he plays with his actors, right? And so, right, he got what he wanted because he has no boundaries. He doesn't respect anyone. And anyone who willingly allows him to hold court in their mind in the way that he doesn't respect themselves at all, right? So who's that? That's, a lot of names, isn't it? John Travolta, right? Bruce Willis, right? Ving Rhames, right? Michael Madsen, right? Uma Thurman. I just go all the way through his films. I'm not going to do that, but you see what I'm saying, right? These are the games that he plays, right? And I suspect they're all, like the people that work for the Burbank Film Festival, ignorant of sin and understand nothing, right? But I know what it is, right? And so, right, when he stuck his nose up in my letter, right, the voice inside of me, that's God, said, oh no, this is an exercise in power. This has nothing to do with writing. This has nothing to do with love, right? That he's like living in his brain. He's not living in his heart. That he's trying to control my mind, right? With subtle bullshit, right? Mentalism, occultism, right? And so, right, he turned his back on me. I turned my back on him. Right? He can direct me as a director. Right? He can look me in the eye and say, I'd like you to consider trying it this way. Right? But rather than do that, right, he wanted to be a telepath. Right? And you see the board? Right? I'm the strongest clairvoyant of the millennial generation. 100%. Right? Anyone who says otherwise, right, they have no claim. Right? So now, right, me and Quentin, right, I'm talking about it now because it's just ugly. It's just this ugly, evil thing, right? And so this channel exists because I've tried to go to everyone that's around him. William Morris Endeavor insulates his evil, supports his evil. The Jam Band Fish insulates and supports his evil, right? The Discovery Institute insulates and supports his evil. David Mamet insulates and supports his evil. Right? Right? Claire Berlinski of the Cosmopolitan Globalist is a hack who doesn't care about journalistic integrity. Right? Right? Paul Schrader insulates and supports his evil. Martin Scorsese insulates and supports his evil. Right? And that's not an exhaustive list, right? But we're talking about the novel, right? We're talking about the nature of reality, right? I'm in the middle of the rhapsody now, right? That when I was on this journey, right, in terms of where I'm reading now, about a truck stop in Memphis, right, that I wrote 200 pages in maybe 4 days, 5 days, right? It was just a rhapsodic fervor of, right, ecstasy, right? And again, right, It's all bullshit, right? There is no daughter, right? Trey never gave a fuck about me playing Hamlet, right? His daughter Eliza never cared about playing Ophelia to my Hamlet, right? It was all an elaborate ruse, right? To compel me to madness, to compel me to blow my brains out. When he could have just said, "No, dude, you blew it. You're so cool. Here, this is for your scene. You signed this non-disclosure agreement, and you go play Hamlet in Honolulu." Right? But rather than do that, right, it's gotten to where it is now, right?